Good morning, soldier. Good morning to you. Body weight this morning. Body weight. Some push-ups and squats. Appreciate you popping in. Yeah, morning coffee for sure. Gotta have the coffee. South Jersey. I'm up north. Where are you, soldier? I'm down Cherry Hill in the Cherry Hill area pretty often, but I actually live up here in the northern part. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I know that. Yeah, like I said, I'm born and bred in Bayonne in Hudson County. I've been up here in northern Jersey for about 20 years now, and then my daughter is down in Cherry Hill, so I make a lot of trips down there to see the grandkids. So I'm all over the state, actually. Good morning, Magda. How you doing? Oh, Willing, okay. Brooklyn, yeah, well, I could see Brooklyn from Bayonne. We're practically neighbors, my friend. How are you, Magda? Yeah, you know, soldier, no matter where you go, you're gonna bitch about taxes. You're gonna find something to, right? So you make the best of what you have where you're at for the most part. But I remember when I first moved up here, like I said, I was from Hudson County. So you're in more of an urban area. And then I came up here and it was kind of culture shock, being around all these trees and stuff. But yeah, you make the best of it. And you know, like in your case, you drive across or you travel across the country or anywhere else and you see things different, but everybody's got their own battles, you know what I mean? If it's not the taxes, it is the school system, or there's something going on, you know what I mean? So, but you got to make the best of it. But at the end of the day, we're still here. And I don't see people risking their lives to get out of the United States. You know, as much as you want to bitch about things here, people are dying to get in. They certainly aren't dying to get out. So something's got to be right somewhere. That's actually called a mace bell, soldier. They call it a mace bell. And they come in, there's a lot of different exercises. I basically just use it as a warm-up tool, doing these swings, but there's a ton of other exercises you could do with it. Like here today, I'm just incorporating it in the workout. I'll do a few swings, but if you hang on a second, I'll try and find that. I get it on Amazon, but this exact one. Now you don't want to go too crazy because they come in different weights. I think the one on Amazon, this one may go up to like 30 pounds or at least 25 pounds. So they might be like 10, 15, 20, 25 or something like that. You'll have to take a look, but I'll send you the link. But I settled on the 10 and I was glad I did. You're gonna say to yourself, well, 10 pounds is nothing, but you have to remember when you're swinging that around your body, you're generating a lot of force. It's gonna put a lot of pressure on the wrist, the elbows, the shoulders, really the whole upper body. So choose wisely. You know, I don't know where you're at, but I was actually gonna, they did have a 15 pounder. I was gonna go for that initially, and I'm glad I didn't, to be honest with you. This 10 pounder serves its purpose. That should be the link there, soldier, for that mace bell if you want to check that out. Like I said, I buy everything off Amazon, so. Do I do cardio, Soldier? Honestly, not often. I mean, I'll do 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes on the elliptical. I'm not a runner. My strategy is usually just to, when I do these body weight workouts, you know, normally here, if I'm live, I'm going back and forth a little bit, but if I'm doing a body weight workout by myself, my strategy is always just to go as quickly as I can and not rest and just keep my heart rate up. You know, I'm not big into doing a set. It drives me crazy at the gym, even at the gym. You know, people do one set and then they're sitting on the machine and the only thing that's working out is their thumbs with the phone. But usually my strategy is just to move as quickly as I can and keep my heart rate up. But I've never been, I mean, years ago I would run, but of late, no, I don't run. Really, that's really the gist of it, is some work on the elliptical and then what I do out here with the body weight stuff, you know. And I like to superset stuff because I think that makes better use of your time. You know, like if I'm gonna go to the gym and say do any 2 exercises, you know, if it's not like a heavy bench press where you really need to rest, but like a body weight or a lighter weight isolation exercises, I like to superset them, you know, because I think that makes better use of your time and it does keep your heart rate up. It's not like you're gonna do a set and then wait around for 2 or 3 minutes and then go do another set. You know, there's no reason why you can't do, like a lot of times I will, if I'm not going really heavy for me, I mean, on say like a bench press, I'll do a set of bench and I'll get up and I'll do a set of body weight squats, or I'll do jumping jacks, a set of jumping jacks. I'll incorporate that, I'll superset that. You know, anything to keep the heart rate up during the workout. Shout out to Lovemore. It's been a bit. Good to see you back. Thanks for popping in. And Soldier said, how many days a week? I'd like to tell you 7, but probably, actually yesterday was an off day. So I definitely 5 days a week. For sure 5 days, you know, whenever I can get. I don't have scheduled days off. I just kind of go how the day's going. And if I get lazy, like I kind of did yesterday, I didn't do anything. So I figured I'd come out here early this morning and get something in. I'm actually going to be hitting the gym later on, doing some weighted pull-ups. So that's why I'm kind of going light here. But on average, definitely I can say for certain, you know, 5 days a week. Thank you, brother. Old School's in the house. Guys, check out my man Old School, 67 years young. Still hitting it hard. Thanks for popping in, brother. Hope you're doing well. Love, I do not. Back in the day, I did do them regularly, but I was never, ever, ever comfortable. For some reason, I would put the pad, I would wrap a towel, anything. It was never comfortable on my neck. I just never felt right doing that exercise, to be honest with you. So now, when I'm at the gym, I hit the, I'll do the hack squat machine and the leg press machine. The purists are gonna tell you, no, you know, barbell squats, you get the most activation. Who knows? But it's not worth it to me. I don't need it. I'm not comfortable doing it, so I'm not gonna do it. You know, I always say, whatever you do, it's gotta be sustainable for you. It has to be something you enjoy. So I'm not gonna go to the gym and do something where I feel uncomfortable. I was always suspect of my form, you know. But no, I don't. The short answer is no. I do those other ones. I do the hack squat, the leg press, some leg extensions, leg curls if they have the machine, things like that. You look, I don't know. Maybe it's the angle, love. I don't know. It's pretty much held the same, actually, for years now. So I don't know. I don't really. I haven't had a DEXA scan lately. I've never had one. I think that's the most accurate way to tell your body composition is that DEXA scan, and even that's not perfect. But of all the ways to do it, I think that's the best. You know, if you do those calipers, you know, there's a big margin of error there for that. But wow, 19th. Old seat. Now there's some cardio for you. Old school's doing the cardio. Give me a couple of those steps, brother. You could half that with me and you'll still be fine. 19,000. So that's roughly what, 10 miles, right? I think 5 miles is about 10,000 steps. Obviously that's not too accurate, but in the ballpark. 19,000, that's crazy. Actually, not too long ago, old school, I was reading a study on that. And that's kind of everybody's magic number, right? Is usually the 10,000. They want to get 10,000. But this study was saying that the sweet spot, and it was a pretty good study. It wasn't just like 10 people. I don't remember the exact numbers in there. But anyway, basically for a good heart benefit and all, if you're getting like 7,000 to 8,000, they say that's like an excellent number. 19,000, you're tripling that, so you're doing all right. Yeah, 8.4. Okay, yeah, that's about right. Yeah, because I think I saw somewhere that 10,000 was, they called it roughly 5 miles. But again, it's going to depend on your stride and whatnot. So, soldier so-so. I was for several years. I was extremely strict with the intermittent fasting, I would throw in a 24, 36 hour. I would be hard and fast, 16 to 18 hours a day, 2 meals a day, which I still do for the most part, the 2 meals a day. As far as my window, I would say 75% of the time I'm 16 to, yesterday I definitely was. I was like 18 hours. But I do it, every once in a while, to be honest with you. But I don't eat throughout the day. I'll only eat twice a day. Occasionally, very rarely, like in the middle of the day, if I'm feeling a little bit, I might have a couple of eggs, so that, I guess you can consider that a third meal. But I don't snack in between or anything like that. I don't have anything. I sit down and I have my meal, whether it's going to be some meat and vegetables and yogurt and fruit and stuff like that. I'll eat it all at once, and then I won't eat again until I have my second meal or my dinner, if you want to call it that. Keto, no, I don't do keto. I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine about this. I think keto was actually a therapeutic diet for people with seizures back in the day. It was developed in the 1920s. It's a very, very restrictive diet, and it definitely has its place. And from what I read on it, it was extremely effective when it came to things like that. And then you're going to see other studies about it with people with autism and things like that. It's not a cure, but a lot of the symptoms and stuff, it's therapeutic, and it does have its benefits. But what happened was, like I think by the 1930s or maybe the early 40s, I think it was sometime in the 30s when they developed the medications, the anti-seizure medications. Of course, the drug companies aren't gonna, if a keto diet works just as well, if not better than medication, they're not gonna let that happen, because then they can't sell pills. So they started vilifying the keto diet. It's dangerous, it's gonna kill you, and all this other shit. So now we usher in, the pills. Keto comes back around, and if you read up on the, oh man, I'm having a brain fart. The guy from the 70s, the diet. Somebody help me out here. The diet that was real popular back in like the 70s and 80s. It was pretty much all meat and fat. It was basically akin to a keto diet. But my point is, the keto diet has its place in the short term, because I don't think most people are going to stay that restricted. Because a true keto diet, you're eating a moderate amount of protein, a real high amount of fat, like upwards of 80%, 75 to 80%, if not more, of your diet is going to be made up of fat. And trace carbs. That's a true keto diet. And even people today that say, I'm doing keto, no, you're not. Because if you go into the supermarket and you're buying chocolate keto snacks and all this other crap, you're not doing a keto diet. I think initially it's going to help people lose weight. If you have some other medical issues, it could definitely help. I believe that. So I think as a short-term tool for people to get them back on their feet, but then you transition into a more, I believe in a more balanced diet. I do meat, I do fish, I do eggs, I do yogurt, lots of fruit, moderate vegetables, and things like that, And I think that's it. All right, old school Atkins, man, I got to bump up the ginkgo. Yeah, the Atkins diet. That was somewhat akin to the keto diet in a way. A big plate of spaghetti. Well, you're definitely not doing keto, old school. Keto's not doing old school with that spaghetti. But yeah, see that 21 hour fast is going to do you good, even if you don't intermittent fast, or you shouldn't be eating 15, 16 hours a day every 2 hours. I don't believe in that, but even if you have instead of an 8 hour, if you have a 10-hour window, even 11, whatever, and then one day a week throw in that 24-hour fast or whatever. I think it has a lot of benefits, but you have to work your way into it, especially if you're somebody, and like most of us, most people today are on a standard American diet, which is very high carbs. So you have those high blood sugar spikes and the crashes up and down all day. It's really hard to go to just jump in and say, today I'm not going to eat, I'm going to do a fast. because your body's going to be craving that sugar. You have to work your way into it. It's like anything. It's like a process. Yeah, he did. And that's those food dyes. You read up on those. It's a vicious cycle. You know, they put it in everything. Everything the kids eat. The cereals, the yogurts, everything that you name, all of these snacks or foods for the kids. The Gatorade, everything is loaded with these dyes. And they're toxic. You know, people don't look at it like that. But, you know, if you see what it's doing, not only to the kids, but people in general, you know. And then how do you fix it? You know, the kids get out of control. They say, oh, they have ADHD and they're you know, they're pumping them up with Ritalin to counteract it, you know, the stuff that they're putting in their body. But that's a good step. I can't wait. If they could pull it all out tomorrow. And it's a small step, but it's a very good step. You know, I was glad to see that. How can I say this diplomatically? Because I don't want to come off sounding holier than thou. But, you know, I made my changes, and everybody that I palled around with, everybody that I hung around with, 95% of them haven't. So when I look back, I'm 61. I'm not going to be living my life like I was in my 20s, my 30s, and even into my early 40s. You know what I mean? You have to graduate at some point. And most people don't do it, won't do it, because then they get that deprivation, that indignation. Well, why should I give that up? Because I enjoy it. Well, you know, you only live once. Well, you do. That's why you want to make the best of it. You know, but I know people, raging diabetics, and they'll eat and drink whatever, whenever they want, and chase it with insulin, chase it with metformin, chase it with whatever pills that they have to take. But that's their choice. I don't agree with it. So again, that's why I'm not around. That's why I'm out here by myself, to be honest with you. I certainly don't know many 60-year-olds that want to be doing this. You know, I don't know many 30-year-olds that want to be doing it, to be honest with you. And again, it's not to come off sounding holier than thou, but it's a fact. I'm not making stuff up. Just look around. You know, and I'm not saying I'm right for everything I do. Maybe I'm not. Maybe they're going to be the ones laughing. Who knows? But I'm going to do everything I can to try and not let the medical system get their claws into me. I don't want to be relying on pills every day and going to doctor's appointments and, you know, stuff like that. You know, if you do a Humpty Dumpty and they have to, you know, I always say, get me to the best trauma surgeon you can find. But day to day, I'll do what I think is right for myself, because you're never going to go to a doctor, a conventionally trained doctor, and get any type of sound nutritional or lifestyle advice. The only thing they do, the only thing they're trained to do, a mainstream general practitioner, all they know is symptom pill, symptom injection. That's all they do. And if it's something they can't figure out, and most of the time they can't, because they'll shoot, you know, mice with an elephant gun. Like if you come in and you have the sniffles or whatever, they'll say, well, it could be this, it could be, and they'll give you a Z-Pack, some really strong antibiotic. And if it happens to kill, if it is bacterial in your body and it happens to kill it, you think the guy's a genius. And now you just destroyed your gut microbiome with these pills. So you have to do your research. You have to be proactive with your health, which is what I try to be. And again, I'm not saying everything I do is right. And the fat guy injecting the insulin may have the last laugh. I don't know. But I'm willing to take that chance with what I'm doing. Appreciate you popping in, Meth. Soldier, self-development? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them out there. You know, probably you look at Think and Grow Rich, what's his name? The Power of Now, Compound Effect. You want to get into it, you want to read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And everything I just mentioned is either on audio on YouTube, or you can just do a search, say Think and Grow Rich. Just put in Think and Grow Rich PDF. All of them you could just download on your own. You know, you don't even have to buy them. They're out there. But yeah, there's a lot. I've been through, over the years, I've been through a lot of them. You know, I listened to a lot of them online, like I said. I'm trying to think. Most of the big ones that you can come up with, I've probably looked at, you know. But the Power of Now, I thought that was a pretty good concept. And Think and Grow Rich, like, you know, that guy, you know, he didn't make any of that up. He didn't invent any of that. They were all principles. He just kind of put them together in a neat package. So I think that's a pretty good read. Earl Nightingale has a lot of good stuff online. You know, and again, all of these guys, really, if you really want to think about it, the best self-help book, self-development book in the world is the Bible. Because a lot of these principles that these, you know, self-development, self-help books, they take those principles and then they just reword them. You know, and that's what a lot of this stuff is, especially, you know, today. All of them, they're just kind of taking those old concepts and then they're putting their spin on them, if that makes sense. You know, but the good thing is most of them are out there for free now. You know, most of the basic stuff, you can get them for free. Either on YouTube if you're inclined to listen to stuff, or just download the PDFs, you know. Soldier, what has helped me? Do you mean as far as those books? I mean, you know, kind of all of them. Take a little bit from all of them. Read some of the Stoic stuff. What's his name? Seneca. There's one, it's a short read. Is it called On the Shortness of Life or something? Something along those lines. But a lot of those Stoics, there's a lot of good principles in the Stoic stuff. If you look back at some of that. I think that's what you were talking about, right? What helped me book-wise? I mean, lifestyle-wise, probably what helped me the most in my life was giving up booze. Yeah, old school, you're right. And again, I hate to come off sounding holier than thou, but that's what it comes down to, is just the self-discipline. And I mentioned it in my last video, and I say it all the time. Everybody's addicted to the convenience, the comfort, and the consumption, and we're not inclined to give that up. Why should I give that up? I like doing this. You know what I mean? You only live once. I want to go have fun. Well, go ahead. But at some point, you know, you don't stay in kindergarten your whole life. You don't stay in grade school. You don't stay in high school. You graduate. You move on. Right? Hopefully you develop and you're getting better over time. But there's no way that I'm going to be sitting here at 61 running around like a drunk ape like I was at 30. You know what I mean? Doing the same thing. I did it. I saw what it did to me. Nothing good ever came of it. I certainly don't need it now at 61. You know? And that's my goal too. Stay away from them. You get hooked up, you know, that's what I said earlier, old school. I don't know if you were here, but, you know, you start in with those, you let them get their hooks into you, everything's a pill. You have to take this pill. And then if there's a side effect of that pill, they'll give you a pill to counteract the side effect of the first pill. And it's a never-ending cycle. They do, and hence the name, Deadly Sin. All right, guys, I went a few minutes over today. Appreciate everybody stopping in, everybody interacting. I really do appreciate. I'm gonna get going for the day. Hope everybody gets your reps in. Everybody's staying safe out there, staying healthy. And I guess I'll catch you guys on the next one. Everybody have a good day.